So depending on when you're watching this, it is either very late on Friday, or it's Saturday morning probably. And so I continued to read JoJo since the last time I made a video about it, the manga, Part 5, Vento Aureo. And I read a bunch of it, but I'm not going to talk about them all together because that's a lot of information. So I'm just going to talk about bits and pieces of it and then upload it over time. So I'm going to talk about chapters, because normally I'm planning on reading like a section and then making a video about it, but where I couldn't do that, so I just read a chunk of it. So this particular section, I'm going to talk about chapters, Part 5, chapters 9 to 16. And those are the arcs of Meet the Gangster Behind the Wall and Entering the Gang. So Meet the Gangster Behind the Wall pretty much just introduces the character known as Pulpo. He's the guy who gets new people into the gang through this very specific initiation. Pulpo essentially lives a fantastic life, and that he's behind bars, so it makes him easier not to be, I guess, assassinated because he's behind bars. But he has everything he could ever want. He essentially has literally his own room with his own fridge and everything. He's got everything you could possibly need in this room. The one thing I was confused about, though, was there's a point earlier where Pulpo's eating something and doesn't realize he bit off one of his own fingers. But then later on, it's played off as Giordano possibly just seeing things. Was that explained? Did I miss that? I feel like I missed that. Because I don't remember them explaining if he did actually just eat his finger or something. I was so fucking confused. But so Pulpo says, okay, here's a lighter. You have to keep this flame lit. You keep it from going out for 24 hours. If you do that, you can enter the gang. It's all about trust. So really, that's most of what the gangster behind the wall. Then, entering the gang pretty much consists of Giordano keeping it lit for 24 hours, which, spoiler alert, does not happen. So a number of confusing things happen in these chapters, and I'm going to ask a question, and if anybody has the answer, let me know, because I haven't read all of Part 5, and I heard a lot of people don't like Part 5 for various reasons. I, so far, don't really have a problem with it. I'm just kind of confused. Number 1. Golden experience seems to be established. It's established that it can kind of give life to things. It can give life to inanimate objects, like it can turn Koichi's luggage into a frog, or what the fuck else does it turn into anything? He can turn a tooth into a fly, that sort of stuff. But I'm confused because with the lighter, when he's trying to get out of the prison and the female guard stops him, does he turn the lighter into a flower or what? Or does he just hide it within the flower? Because, he keeps the flame hidden from within its petals, which is how he's able to get out of the prison without them knowing that he accepted a lighter from Pulpo, because he's not supposed to give or take anything bring anything to the prison or take anything out of the prison. But, I didn't think he could, mishmash stuff like that. I didn't think he could turn a lighter into a flower, but keep the properties of the lighter while it's still a flower. Also, spoiler alert, the lighter is, part of a stand, so can he even fucking do that? Is it a bound stand? I'm really confused about that. And then also there's a part later where he turns a lamp or something. It's when he brings everything home and he puts it in this thing of bread so it stays still and he could keep it safe all day. And Koichi breaks into his house to try and find his fucking passport because he dicked Koichi over. And he tries to get the bread, and he ends up turning like a lamp or something into a snake, and then has the snake bite the bread to somehow get it to him. But the reason I'm confused is in the first chapter, he literally is like, I don't necessarily control these things. So he can't control it. It just does exactly what he wants unless he does actually control it. I'm very confused about that as well. But I digress. He gets the lighter and he's told, hey, can't let this lighter go out. And so he does pretty much anything and everything in his power to keep the lighter safe. And so he gets it to his room and he's like, okay, I can put it in this bread, it'll stay upright, it won't move, we'll be fine. Koichi breaks into his house and is like, I gotta try and find my goddamn fucking passport because I need to go home. I think this takes place like somewhere between 2 to 4 years after the events of part 4. I could be wrong. The years could be wrong, but it's stated in these chapters. I just can't remember. So Koichi breaks in and he's trying to look for his passport. He does bullshit, you know. Golden Experience does some bullshit, which I'm partially confused about because, like, I don't know what the range of his fucking stand is, because sometimes he's, like, right next to things and he changes them, and sometimes he just fucking reaches out and changes them. So I literally don't understand how his fucking stand works right now. Regardless, Koichi, he manages to, well, Koichi thinks he finds his passport. It's probably not his passport. Whatever. Giordano, I can't exactly remember how it happens, but he manages to get the lighter out, and he manages to, essentially he's just gonna walk around with it. He can't get caught. He can't let Koichi find him. So he's walking around, and almost fucking immediately, this Mario from Super Mario Brothers looking motherfucker, janitor guy, accidentally spills water on it. And Giordano starts freaking the fuck out. And the guy's like, no, it'll be fine. We can relight it. And he does, and he fucking dies. Because the lighter is a stand. I don't know if it's technically a bound stand, but the lighter itself may or may not be just a stand. And essentially what happens is, when it goes out, if you turn it back on, it's like you reignited the flame. There are 2 paths to walk, you know, one of salvation and one of death or some shit like that. And essentially, it has an arrow in its mouth, and it pierces you with the stand arrow. And if you're not worthy of being or if you're not capable of being a stand user, you just fucking die. And if you are capable of being a stand user, then you get a stand. That's how all these gang members who join the gangs are stand users, because they passed Polpo's trial, whether it's by actually keeping it ignited for 24 hours, which I don't know if that's even possible, or they didn't, but they got stabbed with the stand arrow, and they got a stand anyway, so it didn't fucking matter. Even Polpo himself doesn't fucking know. He's like, I guess, I don't know, for whatever. I don't fucking know. So the rest of the time of entering the gang, it's Giordano running away from Polpo's stand, who's trying to stab him with a stand arrow, even though Giordano already has a stand. Now, his stand, Polpo's stand, is Black Sabbath, and it can move, it can't take the sunlight at all. It probably doesn't die, but it can't, I don't think it can die necessarily, but since it's a long range kind of automatic stand, its stand user doesn't take damage or anything at all. So Polpo will never fucking know what's going on. But anyway, it can move in the shadows, and when it moves in the shadows, it moves like crazy fucking fast. When it moves out of the shadows, it really can't, but it has a couple tricks where it can jump from shadow to shadow. Like, it can jump to a shadow of a bird, so the bird can bring him where he needs to be, kind of thing. And long story short, kind of, Giordano gets one-upping on Black Sabbath with the help of Koichi, because Koichi finds him and he's like, listen, Koichi, there's a big fucking deal going on right now. You gotta listen to me. And Koichi eventually trusts him and then tries to help him out, tries to explain stands to Giordano, because Giordano has a fucking idea what a fucking stand is. He's like, hey, buddy, you know, blah, 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 blah. This stuff happened to me 4 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago with my friends. There was an arrow, blah, blah, blah. This is what's going on. And Giordano's like, I don't fucking know. There was some bullshit moments with the tree, and I made it rapidly age, and blah, 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 blah. I don't fucking care. And to make a long story short, I'm kind of paraphrasing because Entering the Gang was like 7 chapters, but I felt like the Black Sabbath arc, or Entering the Gang, was really like, not boring, but I felt like it was a lot of the same thing of like, Giordano just like, gotta get out of the shadows, gets caught, kicks it in the face, or gets it in the light, runs away again. Like, it's kind of this, it felt like the same thing over and over again, but there wasn't a lot of like, oh shit, hype moments, you know? Because at the end, the only thing, lastly, Koichi doesn't tell Jotaro about everything that happened, because Jotano's like, oh, very powerful people might be able to come in and hear it and whatever, and I have a dream, gangstar, you know, whatever. So Koichi ends up trusting him from what I remember, and he doesn't say anything. And the most important thing, and the most confusing thing, is that he has Pulpo kill himself. What he does is he brings the lighter back, and Pulpo's like, la la la, I'm a fucking genius, my stand can give stand powers, or whatever the fuck. Popo's a retard. It's actually rude. Popo's an idiot. So Pulpo, you see Giordano go like, ugh, and you're like, oh, okay, so he's changing something because of the stand. And Pulpo goes to grab a banana, which was actually a gun, and ends up shooting himself. Because the peel part, there was like the safety and the trigger. That was fucking confusing to me, because how does he have... My understanding was he turned the gun into a banana. The confusing thing was, how the fuck was this banana actually still a gun? Can Giordano just change it back out of a certain fucking range or something? Because I thought he had to be much closer to activate that sort of shit. But like, literally, he leaves and Pulpo picks up a regular looking banana and he starts peeling it, and he hears like a click, and he's like, oh, I wonder what that is. And he finishes peeling it and he puts it in his mouth, and there's another click, and then he looks and it's like, oh, it's a gun fucking now, and then it shoots him in the face. And I was like, how does that fucking work? How does he just do that? I have seen nothing that implies that he should be able to do that, and yet he somehow fucking can do that, and it's so confusing. I do not understand what the powers of his stand are. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what his stand can do, because his stand can literally do fucking everything. If I have one complaint, about this entire thing so far, the fucking 16 chapters I've read, is that Giordano's stand to me is really confusing, because I feel like it's doing things it shouldn't be able to do and that don't make sense. But that could be just me. It could be that, you know, they haven't fully explained his stand. You know, I do know certain spoilers about part 5 because I'm on the fucking internet and JoJo memes are a thing and you can't always avoid spoilers. But you can, you know, it doesn't bother me. It's just, for the spoilers I do know, I don't fucking understand Golden Experience. It just legitimately, right now, doesn't make that much sense to me. Also, doesn't it seem like Giordano's a little too overpowered? I feel like Giordano's a little too overpowered. But that's neither here nor there. Whatever. Not my problem. Let me know what you thought of this part of JoJo, or if you can explain any of the bullshittery to me. That would be fantastic. Ignore how fucking congested I sound, because apparently my nose just decided to clog the fuck up at this point. whatever. I'll be making videos on the other chapter. I didn't read too much more than, I think I read like a few more chapters than that. So I'll be making another video covering the next part after we meet up with Bucciolati's gang or whatever. And then after that, I will be reviewing them as I read them rather than kind of bulk doing it, you know. So let me know, yeah, once again, let me know what you thought in the comments below, or please try and explain all the bullshittery that I did not understand. And I'll see you next time. Bye.